Welcome to SilverC Review. Oh crap, it's gonna be hard to see my pages. I just thought about that. It's rather dark. I got out here as fast as I could. It's right now just a few minutes before 5:30, which is ridiculous. And I'm getting off at 5, and it took me 30 minutes to get out here and set up. And really, that's pretty good for me. So, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see my board. I could use my flashlight. This is gonna be so ghetto. Oh my goodness. I wanted to come out here and record 2 podcasts. I need to do my introduction. This podcast will have an introduction, a movie review, a movie recommendation, some jokes and quotes, and then Inside the Introvert section. So all the times are listed down below, so you can watch whatever you want to watch, or listen to whatever you want to listen to, and skip wherever, and just do what you want. As you can see, it's dark. The sky looked kind of cool. That's why I wanted to do it right here. Originally, I was going to do it way back over there. And I liked the sky this direction. Probably won't be able to see me hardly at all, but I really hope someone doesn't walk by as I'm like using my flashlight to light this up here in a second. I'm out in the middle, like pretty much anyone that wants to be anywhere around this area would have to pass by me, but it's so cold right now and it's dark, so I don't think anyone's going to be out, and that's why I decided just to do it right here, because I'll probably never get a chance to do it right here ever again. So that's what the decision I made, but I didn't take into account that it's going to be hard to see my board with it being this dark, and of course my flashlight's not going to, there we go, dim. Okay, so there we go, I can actually see it a little bit. And as you can see, or maybe you can see, my cord for my mic is not wired underneath me like usual, because I don't have time to do that. So anyways, oh, when I edited the video where I was walking around, I was pretty much out of focus the entire time. I don't know what my camera's problem is. Like, I specifically bought this camera to take pictures, like, just to use as a camera, and it is amazing at focusing on things at close range, because that's what I like, because I carry this camera around with me at all times, and being a freelance photographer, I like to capture pictures, and a lot of times, since this camera doesn't have much zoom, I'm capturing stuff that's really close up. And it can focus really well and really quickly on things close up. So I don't know why in the video, if there's some sort of setting or what it is, it just refuses. And sometimes, it's not always. Like at one point when I went down to look at that mushroom, it actually focused in on it. But for the majority of the time, and unless, I'm going to have some geese behind me. Unless for some reason the focus is different than the camera, because I've got my camera set to where it focuses right in the middle of the frame, so maybe for some reason that focus point is different in the video and it's focusing like on the edges of the frame or something. I don't know what its problem is, but either way it doesn't like to focus on what I would consider the subject right in the middle of the frame, and most of the time I was walking, it was focused on the trees behind me instead of me. I don't know how it can even do that, but it does, and it's very annoying. So I'm glad that I don't do stuff like that very much, because that would be another thing I'd have to try to figure out. You like my hat? Can you see my hat? Probably can't see my hat very well. I drive a Mini Cooper, so I thought this kind of matched it, and I feel like I look good in it. So, and I've had a few other people say I look good in it, so I decided to start wearing it. This actually, I'm fairly certain, came from my neighbor. He's boy, when I was like 15. He had to have been in like his 80s or something, so, or maybe 70s. So he was pretty old, and of course he's passed away now. And he was really a neat guy, and he kind of had the same like build that I had and everything like that. I'm fairly certain I acquired this hat from one of his garage, or they had a garage sale and they had a bunch of hats, and I collect ball caps and stuff, other weird looking hats, and I'm fairly certain that's where I got it from. So it adds extra value to it for me wearing it if it was from him, and I'm just going to believe it is. So I unintentionally had to skip a week. I couldn't get my video to render. It takes about 8 hours to do it, so usually I leave it running overnight. And of course I never sleep 8 hours like I should. And sleep is very important. Very, very important. 7 hours at least. Like, it's insane how important sleep is. I'm terrible for not getting it, and I do try my best. Mainly it's because I'm working overtime right now, and it's just, that's the only reason. And even then, I still am getting like 6 hours. I'm not like really stressing myself out, but there's a statistic out there that shows that when we have daylight savings time and it moves an hour, there's a spike in heart attacks. Like, sleep is that important that there is a national not national. Within the United States, is that considered national? I don't think so. No, yeah, I guess that is national, because international would be otherwise. So within the United States, there's a spike in heart attacks just from a 1 hour sleep difference. So it's very important. And I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, so because I'm not sleeping 8 hours and it takes about 8 hours to render, usually I will start it before I go to bed, but by the time I get up to go to work, it still hasn't finished. It still has like maybe an hour left. So I can't like check on it before I go to work or restart or anything like that. And see if I wrote it down. So I forgot to render it on Sunday night, and then Monday I started it, and when I got home Tuesday, it was my computer reset and it had not finished. It had only gotten to like 30% or something. And of course it doesn't save it, so I had to restart it again. Tuesday I forgot. Finally, Wednesday, I got it to render. So Thursday is when I had it ready, and by this point I was supposed to post it back on Monday. I was like, I'm just gonna leave it until the weekend and I'll post it then. So yeah, I didn't mean to skip that week, but it did happen. And actually tonight I'm gonna record two, so my second video is gonna be super dark. And ironically enough, it's gonna be about podcast. So it's essentially just going to be a podcast. Not that it matters much because no one really watches my videos on YouTube. The only things I get any sort of people viewing or listening to, I guess, is on SoundCloud. But yeah, that one's going to be extremely dark because this one, wow, that looks really cool. I hope it looks that cool in my video. Sorry, I turned around. The next one is going to be, because this is going to take like another 30 minutes, so it's going to be pretty dark. And I'm actually going to, I don't know where I'm going to do it at. I'm probably just going to pick an area since you won't really be able to see much and there's not really anyone out here. And I guess that's kind of good because that means I can use the areas I was wanting to use in later podcasts, which I don't really have that many videos left. And I already have them all set out for what movies I'm going to do for the rest of the year. So it was just the next podcast. Well, I'll talk about it in the next podcast, why I chose to do what I did. So I forgot in the previous podcast when I was walking around Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot I recorded another podcast after the one where I was walking around. In the one where I was walking around, so technically the one before last, I still haven't, it's hard to keep track. I haven't edited the one I did last week, and I'm already doing this week's. But anyways, the one before last, I mentioned a mushroom and I completely forgot about it. So I hope this is in the frame. Here is the mushroom picture that I mentioned. Actually, I'm gonna put in a couple of them. They were just these really cool pink little bubble mushrooms, and I saw them before I had started the podcast and mentioned putting a picture in there, and then I completely forgot. So here they are, yay! Don't want to leave anything out. Want to follow up on anything that I messed up on. So that's going to be it for the introduction. We're going to go into the movie review. And I need to put my hand up again. I'm going to give it just a second so I can space it out a little bit. Okay. Movie review is going to be Bohemian Rhapsody. Giving this one a 7 out of 10. There will be spoilers, so I will not be holding anything back. I wonder if you can hear that dog. Alright, so it was a pretty neat way to start the movie. It was almost like he just woke up off the couch and just got up and walked out on the stage and started performing, so that was kind of cool. It would definitely, whenever he's in the club, it would definitely be me having trouble with the microphone. Yeah, if there's any chance that something's just not going to function the way it should, or I can't figure it out in the moment, yeah, that would be me. As a disclaimer, I like all of Queen's music, so I'm probably a little biased on the score, but that's why I'm saying that. It was a very unique way that they started making music at first, and I don't know, I never did look it up. I don't know if that was actually a way that Queen got some of their sounds and things, but how they were putting, I don't even remember what stuff they used, but they used objects on instruments to make some of the different sounds, so that was really cool. And I really have an admiration for people. you're going to be able to hear in my voice that it's really cold. I should have my coat on. I want to use my coat for the next video so it looks a little bit different, but it's really cold. It's like, it's probably about 45, and it's going to be dropping, so by the time I finish this, it'll be around 40 degrees. Anyways, I really have an admiration for people that can make music out of anything. You see that a lot on YouTube. They can choose. Alright, I'm back. I am officially a silhouette. This is weird. I forgot to delete. I haven't deleted videos on my camera in quite a while, so I ran out of space. So I'm gonna have to go back and say some of this stuff. I cut off when I was talking about how I really admire people that can make music out of anything. You see on YouTube, people will take like kids' toys and just random anything that makes a little bit of noise, and they can make music out of it, or they'll just make some random stuff with holes in it, and then they can make music out of that. And it's really, really impressive how people can do stuff like that. I have no clue what all I said in between this, but if I didn't mention it, it's freezing. It's like 45, and by the time I finish this, it's probably going to be down to 40, and I'm going to do this one without my coat on, even though it doesn't matter because I'm a silhouette pretty much now. And this is kind of depressing. I was hoping it'd stay light a little bit longer than this, and I'm not really sure what to do on my next video. Like I could wait until the weekend and record them then, but I got time now, and I would have wasted all my time out here. My time is precious right now because I got a ton of stuff to do. I'm just gonna continue on this. Where was I? Making music. Playing the piano upside down, man, that blew me away. Like, not only was he not looking at the keyboard, but he was also upside down and reaching above his head, and it was amazing. So that's just insane that he was able to do that. And like I said earlier, I don't know if any of this stuff is something that actually happened, but I'm just kind of going with it because it was in the movie. So, I really like how Freddy looks at everyone. It's kind of a fun but yet smug look, and it's almost like he knows that he's going to be able to succeed at whatever he does, and he's determined. It's a look of determination and kind of there's always a solution, and just a very unique perspective that you can see coming through his look. So that was really cool. I could do another like blog. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide what to do with the next video. The camera transition when it goes through the bus, like when they're going on tour and it comes at the bus and then goes through it and then goes out the back and then it goes into like the stadium, that was really neat. So I thought that was a neat camera technique. Watching them create the iconic song was very captivating. It was just like, this is how they did it. Of course, I don't know if it's actually how they did it, but it was awesome if it is. Fun to watch. It was a little weird how he radically changes his looks and then just sticks with it. Like, I'm guessing he did that to try to win over the girl he was trying to go after, which was a little weird at the time, but you would think he'd go back to his old looks or something. He just kind of stuck with it, so that was a bit strange. It was interesting how music is what kept bringing them back together. Like, they'd have the fights and everything, and then they'd hear a certain song or get an idea, and that's what kind of brought them together. And even in the end, that's how they got back together, was just the music, and of course him failing at what he wanted to do. So, but I like that, how everything was driven by the music. That was the most important thing, even though family and companionship should have been the most important thing. It was to the other people, just not to him. It had kind of the classic superstar gets really popular and then throws parties and then still isn't satisfied. So that was, I mean, that's probably how it was, but at the same time, you see that in a lot of movies. That was kind of cliche, I guess. Coughing up blood is never a good sign. You see that in a lot of movies. I didn't actually know that's how he died. Like, I knew he died from AIDS, but I didn't know he died from bronchial, whatever it was. Hematose? No, I don't know. Whatever it was. Oh man, I'm gonna have to really edit the audio on this one because I've stopped it and everything. It has to be weird to be that popular and to know so many people love you, but at the same time you don't have someone to come home to. Something that the majority of common people have, so that would be a very weird thing to experience. It's like you'd be at the highest point and then all of a sudden not, like, it would be the highest point, but it wouldn't be very fulfilling, I guess. I feel like the movies stay pretty close to the story, although I know nothing about the band or their history or anything like that. So, I didn't really even know what they look like, but I read online and people didn't really point out anything major besides timeline issues, like certain things that were portrayed in the movie happened at different times, so that was probably about the only thing. I wish I had the other tripod. The last performance was just incredible. Like, from watching it, that was a perfect way to end the movie. It was just amazing. He was getting to fulfill everything he wanted. It was a little cheesy that they had everyone in his life backstage kind of like nodding like, yeah, he's doing it. That was a little bit, but still, it was fantastic. It was a great way to end the movie. And I'll definitely be adding this one to my collection. Like I said, it's got a high, for me, for some reason, musicals or, yeah, just things with songs in it have a high rewatch value for me. So, and I said for me twice there. So, it'll definitely be in my collection. But that's going to be it for Bohemian Rhapsody, 7 out of 10. And future self, good luck finding my hand. We're going to go on to the recommendation. This is going to be Equilibrium. I might just have an image floating here on the screen because I don't know if I'll be able to see my hand. This one's from 1974. No, it's not from 1974. I apparently didn't get the date. I could look it up real quick. Oh man, I didn't even... Oh, good grief. Well, crap, I'm making so many mistakes. I should totally trash this one. This is terrible. I can't believe how terrible this is turning out. I have the previous movie information on here, so I have nothing about Equilibrium. It's got Christian Bale, and and of course it doesn't pull up the movie thing when I type in Equilibrium. 2002, and it says, in a futuristic world, a regiment has eliminated war by suppressing emotions. Books, art, music are strictly forbidden, and feeling is a crime punishable by death. Cleric John Preston is a top-ranking government agent responsible for destroying those who resist the rules. When he misses a dose of prosium, a mind-altering drug that hinders emotion, Preston, who has been trained to enforce strict laws of the new regimen, suddenly becomes the one capable of overthrowing it. And essentially that's it. It's Christian Bale, and he misses a drug, and he starts to feel emotion, and now he realizes that everything is wrong, so he wants to destroy the regimen. And it's a very cool movie. It it's got kind of a Matrix-y feel to it, and it's just really good. So go check out Equilibrium. Gonna go on to the jokes and quotes. I should not have put my phone away. It's cold. Alright, to the person who stole my antidepressants, I hope you're happy now. It was not very loud. I wonder why it was so silent. There we go. It's hard to see when everything's dark. Learning Braille is easy once you get a feel for it. Okay. I'm not giving up on this podcast, this episode, whatever it is. I'm not giving up. Quotes. Life is hard, but so very beautiful. Oh man, just think of the sunset tonight, and it was amazing. Looking out over the water and everything. I mean, there's beauty all around us. It's definitely not easy. I'm freezing cold right now, and I hate it when the air hurts your face. But just gotta keep trying and find the beauty in it, because there is beauty all around us. And life is definitely very hard, a lot harder for others than some, and but there's lots of beauty out there, so keep going. How lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard? This one is something I try to always tell people who are grieving or who have going through something where you've lost somebody. It's, I mean, I know grieving is necessary, but at the same time, you can also look at how lucky are you to have been that close to that person, and to have gotten to experience everything you have. And that's just something that is very fortunate, and it should be more of a celebration of all of that. So I don't have much more to say on that. Inside the Introvert. We've got this little stuffed shark on our team. I wonder if I can see my breath. I should be able to. Of course, it's dark, so. We've got a stuffed shark on our team, and it's got a little note on it that says, pass me around to other team members and don't keep me too long or I may bite, something stupid like that. I have no clue where it came from. They didn't really talk about it in our team meeting, so not really sure, but either way, it got put on my desk like a week or two ago, and I immediately gave it to someone else. And this time, and it's annoying because it's like suddenly I've been given this task, this burden that I didn't want, and like I don't know who gave it to me, so I don't want to just give it to someone who's around me, because that would be kind of stupid if they gave it to me and then I just give it right back to them. So I was trying to give it to someone who's further away from me that probably didn't give it to me. I decided the best, of course, being an introvert, I gotta sit there and think about all the possible scenarios, and I decided the best option was to put it on someone's desk who wasn't there that day, so that way I knew that they didn't give it to me. So I went over and put it on someone's desk, and I guess she's been out for a couple days, and she's having like all this medical stuff, and I was like, well great, now when she comes back, she's gonna have this shark on her desk, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Like if people would be like, well, you should have known that she's out having medical problems, and he tries to put the stupid shark on her desk, and I don't know. Either way, I don't know what happened. She finally came back. I don't know what happened to the shark, but it didn't turn out as badly as I thought it might. But it's very annoying. I hope it doesn't land back on my desk anytime soon. The second story, I was helping a friend move, and the guy that was supposed to be preparing everything was not prepared at all. Like, he didn't pack anything whatsoever. And it really is frustrating, because if I'm, like, my time is pretty valuable, or valuable to me. And so if I'm giving you my time, I want you to kind of respect that and be prepared. And I had told my friend that I was like, I'm not comfortable packing your stuff. So I was like, if you can have everything ready, I'm more than willing to go and put it on the moving truck and do all the heavy lifting. But I don't want to pack stuff. So the entire time I'm there, he's having to decide. He didn't even know what to put on the truck. It wasn't like we were just putting everything on the truck. So he didn't know what to put on there and what to keep, and we were having to sort through it. And so we didn't get nearly as much done as we could have if things had just been prepared beforehand. And he also, which this is no fault of his own, he was having he's on blood thinners, and he had a nosebleed, and he just couldn't get to stop. And we waited for 20 minutes before we started doing anything, and it just wouldn't stop, and it went on for the entire 4 hours that we packed up stuff. Like, it would not be too bad, but then all of a sudden it would kind of be dripping, and he'd have to go and try to doctor it up, and he just could not get it to stop. And even then, when I left, he was going to lay down for 15 minutes, see if he could get it to stop then. So, I mean, that's a long time to be messing with his nose. So it was like I needed him to tell me everything, and at times he couldn't be out there. So it was a very frustrating experience. But at the same time, I would do, like, this lady's really helped me, so I would do whatever it took to help her out. I feel like I can't help her very much, and so I'm glad that I was actually able to help her a little bit, but yeah, it was annoying. The last story, I'm having to help build sets and decorations at work for a holiday thing that we're having, and we were working with multiple people, and for some reason I'm very aware of physical contact, like all contact. Like, I usually try to avoid it because I just think it's weird, and it's not so much that I dislike it, it's just because I like it from certain people, but from people I don't really know or I'm not very close to, it's just weird. I'm guessing it's an introverted thing, but because of that, I notice every little bit of physical contact, and we're sitting there trying to tape up stuff, so I'm trying to move my hands to where they can tape it and their hands don't touch mine, and like, it's not a real big deal, but it's just very awkward for me. I guess that's what it is. It's just awkward, and being an introvert, I'm well versed in the methods of awkwardness. So this entire time was like that. Like, it was just trying to build this stuff. We were trying to glue stuff and tape stuff down, and the entire time I'm just trying to, like, I want to help out as much as possible, but at the same time I'm trying not to touch people. I sound like a germaphobe or something. Really, I'm not. I'm quite the opposite. I don't mind germs at all. I could go on stories that would probably be disgusting. But yeah, that's gonna be it. There's an introduction video out there, so if you want to watch it, it kind of tells you more about what this podcast is. And all my videos are on YouTube, so you can see what you're listening to. And they're always, of course, out in nature. And all the sound or audio goes onto SoundCloud for a couple months. I've got Instagram and Twitter. Twitter, I share like video links from YouTube, and Instagram, I share just funny pictures that I find on websites. And I don't do a very good job of posting stuff super often on those, but if you need to contact me, you can use any of them. And that's going to be it for this podcast. So take care of yourself, because there's only one you out there. I don't think I even have to, like, put my hand over it. I don't. You literally can't see anything.